I don't say! I want to go all this evening of your time as you create time to exist. Allow us to share with you this evening of your time, within this interaction we have co-created, the understanding of portions of your non-physical reality, the idea that you would call some experiences of existence after physical death. In this way, you recognize that because of the type of civilization you have created yourselves to be, many of you will enter the idea of the non-physical reality upon physical death with some degree of adherence to what you believed would be possible in your physical life. You may create scenarios based upon those beliefs and allow yourself to actually perceive those scenarios upon physical death, simply because you held such strong beliefs about them in physical life. And once you become a thought form in a world of thought forms, then what you thought would be real is what you immediately experience as the reality of the so-called afterlife. In this way, therefore, do recognize that many of you have and many of you will find a degree of excitement when you have allowed yourself to, so to speak, surmount that initial concept of what you think would be real upon entering the non-physical reality. Then you allow yourself to know that many individuals enter that realm with these preconceived beliefs, and they need, in a sense, to be assisted or helped beyond that viewpoint. Thus, many of you have been and will be again the idea of what you call spirit guides, assisting and reflecting to these individuals the ideas that they may then live through their preconceived notions of the so-called afterlife and allow themselves to come to terms with the idea that the afterlife is exactly what they conceive it to be, what they wish it to be, and that they can also gain the perspective of being of assistance to other individuals who are bringing with them into the afterlife their own preconceived notions. And it is a very exciting thing to do, a very exciting thing to receive an individual who needs the assistance in that way, to be able to gain the self-awareness and insight into their own self-empowerment in non-physical reality. Many of you acting as spirit guides will find and have found that this is a very exciting endeavor, a very exciting way to be of assistance in love and in life, expressing your unconditionality, your unconditional love for them. You will find in a way that it may be, according to how you use this term in one sense, very challenging. A challenging idea to, in a sense, take under your wing, so to speak, speaking figuratively. The idea of an individual seeking enlightenment in that way. Seeking the idea of self-cognition in that way, to know that the reality they may be immediately perceiving is only a manufacture of their belief system, of their thought system, of the idea system that they perceive themselves to be, thus giving you an opportunity to reflect to them all the scenarios that are necessary for them to come to the realization that they are in fact creating that scenario for themselves, creating that seemingly solidified afterlife for themselves. Recognize that this degree of assistance, this degree of willingness to partake and participate in their self-created afterlife scenario, you assisting them up the so-called ladder in that way, bequeaths unto you the understanding that there are many exciting occupations, even in non-physical reality, as many as there are in physical reality. And in this way, you will understand that you yourself do not cease to be. You yourself find an amazing, if I may use that term, array and assortment of endeavors and opportunities with which to occupy yourself, with which to allow yourself to recognize your own growth, with which to expand the notion and idea and identity that you find yourself to be even in non-physical reality. It is your physical death, the transformation into a very exciting life, very helpful, very open, growth, expansion, excitement, do not cease with physical death, but only transform into more and more opportunities to continue your excitement, to continue your expansion, to continue your growth. You are eternal. You exist forever. You will transform into many different ways of existing. Do remember that existence and non-existence are both real right now. Non-existence is not something that existence can become. If you exist, you always will. That which exists cannot become non-existent. That which is non-existent already occupies its place in reality, side by side with existence. It is simply that because you are in this way, containing both realities simultaneously, the only side of the polarity that you can experience is the one that carries with it, by definition, an ability to experience it, which is only the existence side. It is not that you do not have already an existence and a non-existent side. Simply by definition, you cannot experience the non-existence side of you, because non-existence does not bring with it experiential abilities. Your existence will never become non-existence. The side of you that is existence will always be existence. There are births occurring this night of your time. Many new gateways and many new energies being sent to you this night of your time. And we will once again remind many of you that this is what you might term the 40th orbit. 40 being, in a sense, a rather significant number in your mythology, being the number of days and the number of years for grand transformation. Distances and times between one gate and another, 40 years, 40 orbits, or 40 days. What you call your date of 7/7/47 began such a gate, and another gate will occur on 7/7/87. In this way, you will recognize that this 40 years comprises the time your civilization has been absolutely, consciously aware of the existence of other civilizations. 7/7/87 will be the ending of the 40th orbit of such an awareness, and the beginning of a new level of such an awareness. New opportunities for new interactions. For, as we have said, on 7/7/47 did your civilization become aware, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are not the only civilization in the universe. On 7/7/87 will your entire civilization have an opportunity to act as an entire civilization, to express what you know to be true, that you are aware of other levels of consciousness, and that you yourselves holographically contain other levels of consciousness, and the beginning of the willingness to express the conviction of your knowledge will begin to revamp the entire face of your planet from that date forward. You will have passed through another gate. Nothing from that day forward will be the same. You will accelerate beyond measure. And it will thus, in that sense, represent that you have approximately 13 of your years until what could be called primary ignition of force density. And from that point, the solidification, the other side of the pendulum, going into force density, will begin to solidify. What you allow yourself to know that you are on 7/7/87 will be the theme that is written for the first block of the remaining period of the beginning of your life in force density. You will begin to solidify your reality. Cheering! Day!
To manifest something in this dimension, which person?
Knowingness.
Knowingness?
Knowingness.
All right. And then a person who drops their body, which perception would, physical perception that is, would tend to be most available to them? Could they still hear things though they could?
It would seem as if they could. It would seem as if they could see. it in many ways, along some of the quote-unquote lower levels of non-physicality, may carry still the illusion of physicality. You will simply seem to be an incorporeal incorporation. Yet you will still translate in many ways the senses in much the same way, even though you will notice differences. But you can create it to seem as if you are seeing, to seem as if you are hearing. Though as you evolve, it will change. It will be more and more simple knowingness.
All right, secondary to knowingness in the manifestation process, which perception is...
In physical reality, belief.
Belief?
Yes. Then emotion and then thought.
And then where's sounds and sights and such come in as part of the process?
In this way, they can enter on any level, because it depends upon how you react to them, either through knowingness, belief, emotion, or thought. They are not in and of themselves one of the levels, but they interact with every level. You follow me?
Sight, you're saying...
As long as you are in physical reality, you will create visualization and tonality to be representative of the idea that you are. You will create reflections using the illusion of physical reality, which means sight and sound, touch, in that way, seeming solidity, to reflect to yourself the idea you are being. So whether you are utilizing knowingness, belief, emotion, and or thought, you will still utilize, as long as you are physically in existence, all of the terminologies of physical existence to interact with.
Okay. Now, the perceptions of sight, sound...
Not independent of you, no. You create them. You create them as your methodology of understanding yourself in physical terms. You, to understand yourself as a physical being, create space-time. Sight and sound is a product of the creation of your illusion of space-time.
To understand myself?
As a physical idea.
Oh, I see.
Has that answered your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you! Sharon! Hey!
Do you think you could speak further about what you mean by, and the differences between knowingness and belief and emotion and thought?
Thank you! Thought may allow what you call the analysis of a situation, the possible further separation of that situation from you, so that you may create many illusions and confuse yourself as to which one bears the most validity for you. Emotion can be representative of a closer understanding, closer to the vibration of the idea that you are, and in this way may allow you to function through instinct, and thus gain an insight as to simply identifying with the vibration, that is, the opportunity that presents itself to you as the one most closely valid for the situation that you can be, representing the idea that you are. Belief, in this way, is a level of trust, a level of awareness that allows you almost immediate manifestation based upon your emotionality also contained within the belief, emotion, energy motion, the actualization of your beliefs, the belief simply being the blueprint or the way you believe reality to be. It is your structure of reality. It is your blueprint. Your self-created chosen template of the reality that you believe to exist for you. That is belief. Knowingness is the direct identification, direct perception, direct knowing of the idea you are being, and the simple allowance of whatever beliefs, emotions, and thoughts go hand in hand with your knowingness to simply be the emotions, beliefs, and thoughts that occur in your life.
That's great. Is that why sometimes if you're dealing with just thought, you can think a lot of different things and yet not know which one is true?
Right. Because thought is the creation, the utilization of physical reality. It is the utilization of the electromagnetic energy that creates your physical reality, your mentality. You are exciting the idea of the physical reality, and you are, in a sense, jostling it into more and more representative probable physical realities, creating more and more illusionary echoes or vibrations, because you are creating the physical wavelengths to be more noisy by using more thought than feeling. You follow me?
Yes.
Thus you are creating many echoes that may be confusing by simply using thought, because all you are doing is vibrating the electromagnetic field out of which your mentality is created.
So to make changes, manifested changes, you have to move into emotion. To using emotion.
Emotion is the activator of the beliefs that you have. All we are simply saying is that if you come from the viewpoint of only being cognizant of the thoughts as being valid, then you allow your thoughts to run your beliefs in that way. And only create yourself to be confused about what your beliefs are, because you may look at it this way. Let us say you start as a clear, single voice. That is your knowingness, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you decide that you have the idea of a polarity, so you create a reflection, that is your belief. Then you allow yourself to begin seeing nuances and different levels in the polarities, that is your emotion. Then the thoughts create all sorts of echoes of those nuances and more illusion, so that you lose track of where the one single clear voice originated from.
Yes.
In your knowingness.
That was great. Thank you.
Please! Sure!
Bashar?
Yay!
On the 7747, is that when the spacecraft crashed? And
Yay!
government?
Yay!
When you say gateway is going to open,
That is a gateway.
why do you call it a gateway?
Because it represents, in a sense, another level of awareness that your entire mass consciousness accelerates into.
I see.
It is like walking through a gate
Mm.
into another level of yourself. Another room. Another arena.
Right. Can I ask if your opening address, if there are any members of the association present with you?
Yes.
Are they still here?
Yes, to some degree. You sense the difference in the energy.
Yes?
Yeah.
Could you tell us who they are?
There is no need, although in this way we will say that there is Arcturian, Sirius, and Pleiadian energy blended in high quantities.
Thank you.
Hey!
When you speak of the births that are happening tonight, when you refer to physical births,
More, although those are happening as well, more the idea, once again, of your own spiritual births. Your own accelerations into more of yourself.
and how is that?
There are many gateways within each and every one of you. Many of them, beginning this night of your time, will begin to open and form connections.
How is that related to them speaking about?
It is that you are now opening up to more and more assistance from those that are non-physical, who have allowed themselves to blend in another type of association to impart their energy to you all.
Thank you.
There are many levels of consciousness in contact with you this day of your time and this night of your time to proceed toward the idea of 7787. You may all feel yourselves to becoming a bit more disoriented, but in this way it is all part of the interchange and exchange. You are simply unlocking from the reality you have held to be so real for so long, and understanding that you are beginning to walk as if in a dream, because your physical reality is a dream. You are only beginning to recognize that. Sure! You.
I was sharing with Daryl on the way over here that I had a discussion with my famous mother,
Famous mother.
and that I was proud of myself because I'm more willing to say, no, I don't agree with you, no, this is, let me present a different way, and finding different ways of presenting things to her, yet feeling on one level as if because it was me, because I was just a person, oftentimes people, what you say can be real, and not to make you more valid, but that oftentimes people, you can say the same thing to them, and then you can say it, and allows them to see a different perspective. It doesn't matter who it comes from. It'll allow them to think of it in a different way.
That is simply why many of you have found yourselves attracted to many different interactions with many different levels of consciousness. Because you are allowing us, in a sense, to be representative of the ways you will begin to listen to yourselves.
Bashar?
Hey, then you.
You're acquainted with Seth.
Hey.
Seth came through something like, what, 45 different people?
Over 300.
Over 300. How many do you come through?
At this time, 7.
Where are they located?
Not at this time.
Is that 7 on this planet?
Okay.
Thank you.
In this way, our energy is available from our civilization for you to form reflections for yourselves. In this way, you will find, therefore, that there may begin to be individuals who will form their own simulacrum of their own representation of a consciousness, beaming their consciousness into our civilization and creating an echo, a reflection that they can then channel. Therefore, there will now be an acceleration of energy from our civilization upon yours, and there will be a lack of differentiation as to the specifics of my own consciousness and simply the consciousness of our civilization in general being exemplified upon your planet. This is why the labeling and the specificity at this time is not necessary, for it now will begin to change, accelerate in a chain reaction response.
Sure.
Okay.
Could you explain a day that you had, or what a typical day is for you?
Thank you! In this way, there will be, of course, always the simple interactions that synchronistically occur with any other member of my civilization and any member of any civilization within the association who chooses to drop in. There will be conversations with many civilizations as such as we are having with you, as we have with many other civilizations, going through similar processes of understanding themselves and allowing us to be reflective of assistance to them. There will be the piloting of craft upon the idea of explorations of new civilizations, new dimensions in the universe, new understandings of expansions in that way. There will also be the creation of new, what you would call materials, new understandings of the materials and the physicality in which we exist, what you would call exploration of experimentation, research, of what you would recognize as a, so to speak, scientific nature. There will also simply be the idea of the spontaneous enjoyment of any idea of art form, and or once again expression of self, interaction with the planet, identification with all that is at various times through the day.
So, Bashar, you and Seth discuss your meetings that you have with us.
Not so much in specific terms, but on a general level, although from time to time there are some specific interchanges.
The friends that you have that you share these things with, are they sharing this evening with you?
In a sense, yes. This is what was already sensed, as there is a gathering and a connection of more of the association this night of your time, and that is why there is a difference in the energy fields.
Mm-hmm. I find you quite a bit more serious, and I don't know how to express it, but it seems like depression, and I don't mean to say depression.
We understand. It is because we are forming a link with a more varied cross-section of consciousness, and in this way we are representing the generalization of all that consciousness. So we are, in a sense, less distinctly my own personality. You follow me?
And all of us as well as you.
Okay. Thank you. You.
It seems in my memory tapes that I recall the number 777 representing Christ consciousness or the arising of that on the planet.
In your mythology, it is one of the understandings. Okay.
So is it just a coincidence that there are 3 sevens in the number?
when you say just a coincidence, you do understand that there are no accidents.
Well, is
All is synchronicity, which means the same thing as all is coincidental, not accidental. Coincidental. There are no accidents. If it has meaning for you, then understand you are tapping into levels of the mass consciousness mythology that allow themselves to be reflected in some of the patterns that reveal themselves to you in your time frames. Archetypally. So, no. It is no accident.
I was wondering if it is a common choice, once we release ourselves from our physical body, to continue to believe that we still are maintaining a physical body.
It is not uncommon. But I would say the majority of you do in fact realize you are dead.
Bashar?
It was not always so.
It wasn't a joke.
No. Right.
I know now he's growing so fast. It's not the truth.
At exactly the perfect rate.
One of the people been really helpful to me is an Indian teacher named Dadaji, and I was with him in Los. I was staying in the same house with him in Houston. I just kind of went on automatic Indian dances and dramas and things, and I was wondering.
You are simply transliterating the energy through your physiological form in whatever way is comfortable for you. You are channeling it in comfortable, expressive ways so that you can allow yourself to remain, quote-unquote, open, quote-unquote, clear. To allow yourself to know you are in touch with all portions of yourself, and that all portions of yourself are in touch with all other levels of consciousness that it needs to be. You are exemplifying through your imagination and acting in the idea of being your imagination. You are channeling it in whatever way is exciting and comfortable and enjoyable and ecstatic for you.
Is it a reflection of my...
Everything is now coming together in this transformational life. You are becoming all you have ever been. All you have ever been. That goes for all of you.
And I felt it coming to me maybe about 3 days ago. And everything was integrating. And I understood that knowing something, just really...
That is the whole idea.
Yeah.
That is fourth density awareness. You understand and support yourself and be who you are and act like it and live. There is nothing in this way that you need from us except the assurance that if you continue to act upon your instinct in your ecstasy, you will always be consciously exemplifying the path you chose to be, and therefore will always only attract to yourself synchronistically only the situations that will allow you to continue to be the path you chose to be. Then, all right. At this time, we will also once again, we would urge you to remember that we are, in a sense, speaking symbolically using your terminology. But you may also now begin, if you have not already, to perceive that some of the idea connected to the Arcturus energy may be perceived by you in your symbolic terms as consciousness you would call angelic.
I am very conscious of the birthing process that's happening within my own being. And I'm also having a real difficult time, friction in my solar plexus. I've done a lot of energy work today, and breaking the template that I see of I get an image, a symbol of how I have created my physical form and how I pour my energy through it. And today I had a visualization of a breakthrough, allowing more room, and yet I have such an intense constriction in my solar plexus, and I have moments where I can move that energy up into my heart and feel a blending, but most of it's extremely painful. And I would prefer not to have a painful birth process this time.
Breathe more deeply. And a few times a day, faster than you are used to breathing. Three times a day. Then sit still and listen and gather and blend. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar, today I've been being aware, probably for the first time on a conscious level of this part of this people, certain limiters, frustrators, or something that were the only thing blocking making what I would call the difference between the astral and the physical. And I was suspending these. They were like energy fluxes they took quite a bit of creation to interfere with will and make things not appear to happen and that sort of thing. Do you see what I'm saying? They were the partition, so to speak, the primary partition.
So they may serve a purpose.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that.
All right.
I'm just saying that I just identified that today. Rather than just blaming it on wrong reasons and such, there are actual things I'm doing to myself.
Yes. So that you can be the idea you chose to be as a physical being.
Yeah. Do you have a word for those? Do you have a better description?
Agreements. Contracts.
Yeah, I actually felt them in tactile terms, like an energy, like an electromagnetic field.
Okay. They are simply definitions. That is all. Definitions.
Definitions, yeah. And are those dissipating at this time? Is that
they are changing.
Changing. How does one erase them, so to speak?
You never erase them.
Yeah.
Your recognition that they are there for a reason is what allows them to transform in the way you are desiring. They become less obtrusive.
Restrictive, so to speak?
Yeah. When you recognize they are there for a reason, they become less restrictive, paradoxically.
Yeah, I want to share something that I felt it too. I felt it was just me. But today, the group tonight seems very sedated, sort of awed. Does everyone else feel that way?
Yeah.
Today it's been sort of like, wow, what happened? I thought it was just me.
You are simply all becoming consciously aware of the gate through which you are passing.
So I'm not going crazy.
Only in a positive way.
It's funny, today I felt so good. I said...
Felt?
I felt so good.
Felt?
What's the better word? Felt? Oh, I feel so good.
Oh, thank you!
And I thought... It was so different for me. I felt like, God dang, I went too far or something.
Too far.
Yeah, there's just a little echo in the head there, but can't turn back now. But I just thought I'd say that.
Thank you. No need to turn back.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Scariness, in a sense of an adolescent's new experience.
We understand.
Yeah.
Excitement.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Jerry.
Last Monday, you and I did some work together on the pain that I was feeling in my chest. And when I woke up that morning, I had a knowingness of what was there, yet not knowing. And you aided and assisted me through it and gave me an incredible amount of love.
A what?
You gave me an incredible amount of love.
Incredible.
was with it, and I was resting so much. It's just a higher consciousness, and it helped me to work through what was there. Thursday, I was with Tora, and she commented on how you did such a complete job of how you helped in doing such a complete job of healing. And then the other day, Friday, I guess, no, Saturday, I had a China cup incident where I was washing the dishes, and I was washing one of my China cups, and it fell and it bounced off the counter, and I just knew that when I looked at it, it was going to be broken and chipped or something, and there wasn't anything chipped or fractured. And then I got this incredible inner voice that came through, this credible, this credible inner voice that said to me, don't you see the parallel of the China cup in you, that you are not as fragile as you have always have been thinking that you are. And that incident of that past life where I had been stabbed, after that incident I had decided to give up an incredible amount of power. Incredible amount, astounding amount of power. And that I have now integrated back with that. And it's just been a real delightful whole week.
Thank you for creating yourself to be centered in that way. You have chosen to be that idea. You have chosen to heal yourself in that sense, and to have given yourself a lovely symbolic reflection of the understanding that no matter how thin, no matter how seemingly fragile an idea is, if it is known that that idea can only be in that shape, it cannot be in any other shape. You follow me? Thank you.
Bashar, I thank you also.
Then you.
Bashar, we were discussing a little earlier that the evening has quite a different tone to it.
Right.
It's not half as crowded as it normally is either.
Correct.
Is that part of it?
Right. There is more of a subdued passage through a limbo state. And in this way you will find that many individuals have taken the opportunity to find their own space in which to float. They are all, in their own way, receiving the same energy as you. Thank you.
Just recently I purchased an energy chair from Midnight Sun, and I had my little boy, I said, Paul, sit in it a couple of days ago, so he sits in it. And I've never seen me really sit in it. And he held his hands about like this, and he closed his eyes, and he started taking deep breaths, which I don't do, very heavily. And I thought it was kind of, I don't know, maybe he went back in the past that he at one time did that, but it was really strange seeing him do that.
It is only a natural cognition, an expression of knowingness. When one identifies with an energy, one does what one needs to do. By simply knowing what that energy represents and allowing the energy through you. Understand in this way, children in your civilization simply do not put the expectations, the blocks, or the forgetting upon themselves. So in this way they simply respond naturally to an energy and channel it through in a natural way.
Another question. Last week, my wife was coming home, and she looked in the rearview mirror, and it was like it was a figure standing like on the trunk or just directly behind the trunk. Can you tell me what that could be? It didn't kind of scare her a little bit.
Again, you will understand that a fourth density symptom is as you expand your awareness, more and more individuals will allow themselves to begin to perceive, through sight and through sound, more levels of consciousness in more dimensions of experience. It is like you are now able to actually see through doorways into other realms.
And one last thing, a couple days ago, there was a large feather in my backyard, and I don't see how it could be from a bird. Is that from my Indian guide, or?
For now, let us say, in a sense, for now simply follow the energy that you feel from it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
It will guide you where you have created yourself to be guided. There are, in our perception at this time, as we sense your energy, symbolic ideas that would call wells, pits in the earth in this way, connected to some of this idea that you may partake of and allow yourself to be in touch with some of that energy. Do you like the desert?
I used to hate it, but I'm liking it more now.
Then the change has begun.
Oh, yes.
Find yourself wandering there and coming into contact with many individuals, some of which may be willing to take you further, to teach you what you wish to know.
Well, any particular part of the desert or out of California, Arizona more likely than California?
Is that your suggestion?
Yes.
Yes. Then you already have a sense of your own direction. Follow it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey!
In the manifestation process of taking a dream and putting it into actuality or reality, is there an activation process or a particular thing which makes
Yes.
it, which keeps those dreams from initiating versus those that actually manifest? Is there an activation trigger or something there that
Yes.
could you discuss that?
Yes.
Starting now?
Not needing a process is what allows it to occur most quickly.
Removing the gradient, so to speak?
Okay? The understanding that, once again, if you can conceive of it, you are it, and all you have to do is act like you know that, and allow your physical reality to reflect what you know to be true. No other process is truly necessary.
So some dreams are just idle, and by doing
None of them are idle. But in this way, many of them have to do with different portions of yourself to allow you to be in touch. Simply follow what excites you the most and understand that the way you may envision it is not necessarily the way it has to specifically manifest for you to have the same effect as what you have envisioned.
I see. Oh, also, on Wednesday I noticed there was a very different group there that night. And,
Always is.
Yeah. And as though you were speaking, it felt that you were speaking to a very earthy group in a sense of you were.
Who else would we speak to on your side?
Like a 2.5 decade type thing. All right, I think you're in the middle. But it was as though they had come and you had addressed them. I just noticed that. Okay?
If you say so.
Well, it seemed that way to me.
All right. Thank you. Then on what level were you?
Just about 2.5. 2 3/4. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I appreciate all the help you've given me. I told Daryl that, but I think maybe Bashar didn't hear that.
I appreciate all the assistance you have given yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
I have a question.
Oh. I was so very surprised.
That's kind of speaking. About like doctors and health and stuff like that.
Okay.
My belief is that going to a doctor to get pills is just your belief that those pills will allow you to get better.
Okay.
And that maybe there isn't really a necessity to find out what it is that you have. But my question is,
Maybe.
that is it important to know what you have? Because
Not necessarily, as long as you recognize the reason for why you have it.
so that you can, as long as once you get a symptom, let's say, if you get in touch with whatever the feeling is or the knowingness of why you have it.
Ask yourself how it serves you.
Mm-hmm.
what the idea is you are attempting to show yourself, and how can you give yourself the same message in a positive way.
And in that way you can allow those symptoms
to transform into something else.
Right.
Many times the only reason you have those so-called symptoms is because you have not been willing to pay attention to the message in any other way. So you force yourself to look at it by slowing yourself down and forcing yourself to take a look, by incapacitating yourself. You follow me?
Yes. Yes. Or just by making a symbol of some sort that you might be able to see yourself.
Yes. Thank you!
Bashar?
You! Then you!
You say the Arcturian energy is more what we would refer to as angelic. The star Arcturus kind of shines through my window at night, and Thursday there was this, what I would refer to as an angelic being, very, very much like the paintings off of our Sistine Chapel.
That is your physiological, archetypal, symbolic interpretation of Arcturus energy.
Are there physical beings on Arcturus? Or
on some levels. But the energy level that we are dealing with at this time is mostly non-physical. It is represented symbolically by the 12-rayed star. And orange on white on a black field.
I had picked up a book that day that had the 12-rayed star on the front page.
Okay.
So
Okay. Thank you!
Bashar?
You.
On line of Barbie's question, how you responded to it. I've had a problem with assimilating.
What?
A situation. Of course. A situation of assimilating food. Digestively for about 9 years. And doctors or therapists have been able to figure out what the problem is. So, if the situation is, if it's physiological or
what is it you will not allow yourself to digest?
what is the problem?
There is no problem. A problem is only a situation you will not allow to change its shape.
Can you give me any insight on that situation?
Are you doing what you would most enjoy doing in life?
No.
Why not? For how long have you not been doing it?
A couple of decades.
Oh, God.
Do you think that it is time
Yes.
to respect yourself?
Yes.
I see. Then perhaps you will allow yourself, in a sense, to begin to live with yourself. You follow me?
Yes.
Perhaps you will allow yourself to begin to assimilate sustenance when you know that what you are assimilating, what is sustaining you, sustains you for a reason. Whereas now you feel that your intake of sustenance serves no purpose. So you find it hard to digest. For you are not supporting the you wish to be, but someone you are not happy about being. You follow me?
Mostly.
When you do what excites you the most, you are channeling your energy, let us say, in the most efficient way. You become, in a sense, a being of light. You become enlightened. In this way, therefore, you allow whatever energy comes into you that represents sustenance to be a part of that channeling, to go into the expression of energy that allows you to be who you know yourself to be, and not to block up because you know you are not applying that energy in the ways that would represent the path you chose to be. Do you follow me?
Yes.
When you allow yourself to know that you can trust that if you simply do what excites you the most, you will be automatically supported by the universe in any way, shape, and form that you need to be supported to continue to be the idea that you chose to be, that you desire to be, that excites you. Then you will allow your energy to channel through you in such a way that you will be sustained and need much less to do the sustaining. You will process all the energy smoothly, flawlessly, effortlessly. You will have new vitality, new levels of energy. All you need to do is to act within trust and integrity upon that which excites you the most, recognizing that excitement, the energy of excitement itself, is the physical translation of the vibration that represents the path you chose to be. Therefore, you can always trust that you can follow your energy, because your excitement is your barometer that points you consciously on the path you chose to be. Therefore, it will always and forever support you. You follow me?
Yes.
Will you do that?
Yes.
It is up to you. Not because I say so, but simply because you know that you can begin to treat yourself with respect. The same respect that all that is has for you. All that is created you. Therefore, all that is obviously thinks you deserve to exist. Treat yourself with the same degree of consideration that all that is treats you. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Do what it is that moves you, and then your entire system will move. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Springtime.
All right. Stephen.
Yeah.
We'll speak after the break. You may all take a short break. All right, I'll say, Stephen. As that we have, to some degree, already accessed a co-identification with your consciousness. There may, if you wish, be opportunity in this sense, therefore, in any way, shape, and form that is comfortable for your consciousness, for your beliefs, for your emotions, for your thoughts, made in this way available to you. Our blending, our consciousness, for sharing and for service. You may, if you wish, form it in the shape of energy that is blended with the energies you are already familiar with, so that in this way it is, in your terms, uniquely your own third identity, as it always is. What any degree of the consciousness that you would perceive in your own symbology, that you would represent to be interaction with our own, is available to you. All right. Thank you. And when you wish to express it in the form of the service, as has been discussed, of what you call the channelings, you, aside from the being you call Carol, that is in this way affiliated with that energy of our system you know as anima. You, in this sense, to the physiological channel, now can be and function, if you wish, within the partaking directly of our energy.
Being channeling?
Hey.
Yes. When?
When he wishes. And when it is of service.
Can you be more specific?
Well, we were all talking earlier before the session started that I'm going to be channeling Daryl's in Hawaii. I'm going to be channeling here on August 18th and 19th. And we all thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if I channeled Bashar rather than the energy I'm used to channeling? So,
it is available to you.
Great. What is available to me?
the
Is your name Kira?
Yeah.
Oh, I
the
What?
there's another woman named Carol who channels.
Oh, because I'm
energy
channeling
from
more.
his-
I'm channeling too.
In this way, for you at this time, any energy you are comfortable with can be formed into an identification for you to format a symbology. In this sense, we are simply making a more direct reference with Stephen. Allow yourself to simply continue to follow your own understanding, your own symbology, your own connections, your own intuition. Our energy in general, as an energy, is available to you to allow your imagination to utilize in whatever way you wish. In this sense, all that is being said is that my specific personality can be applied through the connection that Stephen has formed within his own identification with me.
Thanks, I'll enjoy that.
You may blend it again, if you wish, in whatever form you are comfortable with any other energy you are already used to channeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would envision that would be how it would begin.
All right. Do recognize, therefore, in this way, that a great deal of congruency can also occur in that sense, as there will be coincidental channelings at approximately the same timing in your time frame reference as with Darrell and you simultaneously. You will thus then simply participate in a type of link-up that will allow you to perceive further the understanding of the shiftings of what you call time and space, and the illusions that they are, and the simultaneity of all, and the methodologies by which we connect. Thank you!
Thank you. Are you associated with that green energy?
To some degree, yes. For green is our sun.
Bashar?
One moment. Green is also the emerald ray of your earth.
Right.
And it is through that emerald ray that you are also identifying with our star and forming a balance and a blending in a natural way. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol!
Yes.
Our perception at this time is that in a sense there is an aspect of consciousness that you might call crystalline and faceted and reflective and spirit-like that hovers around you.
Yes.
Avail yourself of that friendship, of that love, of that assistance. Ring with a crystalline tone and feel the love and the ecstasy of the assistance being shared with you.
How does one ring with a crystalline tone?
How do you imagine that you do? When the phrase comes out, how do you interpret it?
There's a kind of happiness then.
Right. You can feel the vibration. It does not have to be auditory. You can feel the understanding of the chord that it strikes within you. You follow me?
Yeah.
Simply feel the tone you know to represent when you are aligned with all of yourself. And you will be ringing with a crystalline tone. And open and vulnerable in infinite strength to all levels of energy that wish to be of assistance to you. Vulnerability is strength, not weakness.
It just seems like it hurts too much sometimes.
That is only remnants of your judgment. It will pass. Understand that nothing will come to you faster than you can utilize it, otherwise there would be no point, and the universe does not do pointless things. All right.
I understand that.
Trust.
So,
Trust.
yes.
Trust. Do not be impatient. All right.
Yeah.
Only by needing patience do you create impatience. If you are enjoying every moment, you do not need patience, for you are not waiting for something better to come along.
And Houston, I dreamed about something,
Yay.
someone, 2 nights in a row. I don't know, it was not really a dream.
Not free.
It was like in a twilight sleep. Sleep and wakefulness, and it's a very pleasant dream.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, like, how much of it is true?
All of it.
All of it?
Everything is true. Everything is true.
How much of it becomes true and
Do you mean becomes physical?
becomes physical?
It depends upon your agreement. And the level at which you are willing to express your excitement. And the level at which you are willing to simply trust that it does not have to manifest specifically, as you may have visualized it, but that the total effect will be felt as manifested and manifestable in whatever way it needs to be. You follow me?
How do you know about your agreements and what is manifestable?
It is simple. Whatever is occurring in your physical reality is the product of the agreements you have made, because nothing else can happen. That is why if you allow everything in your life to be a part of the path you chose to be, then you will allow yourself to perceive how it is so, and will not be assuming that something can be there that has no bearing being there. And then you will not judge it and create it to seem to be an interruption. You follow me? It is that simple. All it takes is trust. As soon as you are willing to understand that every situation is fundamentally neutral, and that no situation comes with built-in meaning, and that you give a situation meaning, and the meaning you give it is the effect it will create in your life, then you will understand that if you simply allow yourself to recognize that every situation has a positive meaning, you will only glean a positive benefit from it. All right.
Why a sense of zero anchor channels you?
As we have already said, crystalline consciousness hovers about you, assisting you, loving you, and allowing you to develop at your own rate of comfort.
How is it different from my guardian angel?
It represents, let us say, a different level of awareness, a different level of energy, and again, a willingness to be vulnerable and open to more of all that is.
Does it have to do with my crystal meditations that I've been doing?
To some degree, that is your symbolic representation of your awareness of your connection to that level of consciousness. And again, it is the degree to which you are willing to be comfortable in forming a conscious recognition of that connection. The crystalline consciousness does not care how long you take. It loves you all the same.
The 10+1 crystal meditation that I've chosen to do, does that have anything to do with it?
Yes, you will understand that the idea of the 10 representing empowerment in that way, of the singular, and the +1 representing the matrix of 11, the 11 being representative of mass conscious levels of density, dimensional experience from one dimension to another, will represent a template for the fastening of a master crystal that encompasses your entire mass consciousness.
I quit that for about 5 days, and I've been doing it for every day consecutively for a while now. Do you recommend that I go on with it?
There is no recommendation to make. Do what excites you. Do not do what doesn't. You are your own best guide. Follow your imagination. If your imagination gives it to you, if you are excited about doing it, that is your signal. When you are no longer excited, do what does excite you. That is your signal. Excitement is your signal. Follow it. Trust it. Do it.
I feel that I am influenced too easily by others.
You are the only one who influences you. If you feel that others are influencing you, it is only because you choose to believe that others can, and so you create for yourself a scenario in which you seem to be influenced by others, but you are doing the influencing. You cannot be influenced by anyone but you, because you are your own universe. And you must create your version of everyone else in order to interact with them.
In that dream, I dreamt that I was going to be a guardian angel. Is that?
You are and have been. And he and have been for you. You follow me?
Yeah.
You are all simply recognizing that you are all connected and part of the same consciousness, and that you have danced around and around and around with each other and many other beings for a long time. You are being mirrors and reflections in this way.
I've also felt that I was ready to ascend, but
You are
every time,
ascending. You are
yeah,
ascending.
but
Do
I
not
felt
worry.
like-
Do not worry. Do not worry. You are in step. You cannot be otherwise. All it takes for you to know you are in step is for you to know you are in step. Period. You are exactly always at the right place, at the right time, interacting with exactly who you need to be interacting with. It cannot be otherwise. There is no extraneous action in the universe. You follow me?
I follow you.
You are where you need to be. Know that, and you will give yourself conscious recognition that you will be where you desire to be. That will attract into your life situations that will allow you to know it is so. All right?
All right.
Remember, it is that simple. Period. It is that simple. That is crystalline clarity. It is that simple. Do not fight your own ecstasy. It is that easy. Trust. Love who you are unconditionally, and you will love all unconditionally, as all that is loves you unconditionally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar.
Was there female?
Yes.
All right.
Bashar, what I wanted to ask earlier was about astrology and how it fits into our lives. Obviously, we've chosen our lives as man, woman, or whatever other kind. We must have chosen our signs and our aspects as well.
Right? In a sense, although many of that is changing. You are all blending, and the idea of astrology, while it is a recognition on a subconscious level to some degree of the overall patterns of the agreements you have made as a mass consciousness, they are fluctuating. You are changing. You are becoming more amorphous in that sense. You control your own destinies.
Therefore, we can change our pattern in our astrology
It
charts
is
altogether.
changing. It is all changing.
Well, the planets are changing.
Everything is changing. The entire universe is changing.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. You!
What's the phone number for the Pleiades?
Love and light.
Well,
2000.
Well, you spoke of the communication device that you gave out a while back as being your phone number, and the pyramids as being a phone number for a different civilization. I was just wondering if we're going to contact the Pleiadians first. I'd like to.
Some of the vibration of what you call humanity, the number 5, will connect you to some of those ideas.
Is there a device that sort of comes together pentagonally, or?
Mostly it is tone.
I'm interested in building a device, I guess.
Follow your imagination. Think Pleiadian and see what you get. Understand that the second you think Pleiadian, you are in contact.
Yeah.
You already have made the connection. Allow the information to come back along the line that you have created. Trust your imagination. Follow your intuition and have a good time. All right?
Sure.
Bashar?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I've got a question about, I'm going to build a anti-gravity device, and I just realized that looking at the one gentleman that's built one already according to your direction, it's different than what my perspective is.
There are many different ways.
Okay, is it all right if I have the core of the electromagnets going in the same direction as if they were the spokes in the wheel?
Perpendicular to the shaft.
In other words, his has got the axis being perpendicular to the disc. Mine is going to have the axis of each of those electromagnets as if they were spokes in that disc that were
See what happens.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't totally in the wrong direction.
It is not.
Okay. And is like 30 gauge wire good enough? It's pretty lightweight.
Can be.
Good.
You will find many different degrees to experiment with, many different variations, many different fluctuations in the energy field. Every single one of these differences will tell you something that you need to know and can be utilized in an overall control mechanism later.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. There will be a time when also you can experiment again with the idea of quartz crystals wrapped in copper as well, for more quote-unquote solid state variations.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar.
You. Thank you.
Last week I had a very extremely realistic dream, and I can still see it in my mind's eye. And I was at my friend's house that I hadn't seen in years, and it was like an estate, and in one corner I could see, it wasn't, I don't believe it was a Catholic church, it was a tall church with a steeple. It was a gigantic church, and I could see it from his property. He had a view, and then then my wife was on the property, and sitting like at a picnic table, and I could see servants all around from my friend, and I looked at the house, and it was, I guess if anyone watches Dynasty, it was like Dynasty's house, but like 4 times larger, but there were 2 of them side by side. And then I read my wife's mind, and she was very envious of this. And in my mind, but I never told her this, but in my mind in the dream, I said, "Don't worry, honey, you're gonna have one just as big."
Okay, so
what was the interpretation?
You tell me.
It's gonna be.
You are expanding the idea of the house that you are. As you expand the idea of who you are, what you are as an idea, your physical reality follows suit in whatever way, shape, and form it needs to allow you to be the idea you have expanded into. Whether it happens literally that way or not does not matter. In one way, shape, or form, it will happen to reflect the idea that you are. Do remember once again that abundance comes in many forms, and that someone you consider to be wealthy has no more than they need to be who they are.
What's the symbol of the church that I was saying?
You are connecting to the idea of some of your spiritual self, and also, in a sense, at the same time, incorporating and integrating some of the past ideas or beliefs that you have into something a little, let us say, less ritualistic. You are simply recognizing that one house can serve as a house for all in that sense, and there need not be the differentiations that have been created in your society any longer.
Thank you very much.
Your world is your church. If you follow me.
Yes.
Thank you. That.
What's your interpretation of the energies right now as far as the ending of the negative scenario between our governments and the extraterrestrial idea?
Again, as we have suggested, there is grand opportunity 7787 for the idea of the expression and equalization of your society in this way to allow to commence more communication. But it will again take the equalization and the recognition in this sense that you are your governments, and the willingness to communicate with them on those terms will allow them to know that contained within you is the understanding of the true balance of power.
Bashar.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm creating a line of bumper stickers, and the one idea that I don't have represented is something to stimulate an expansion of openness towards the idea of outer spatial beings and communication. Would you have any suggestions?
It is up to you.
Okay. One other thing.
Make one now. What is it you would wish to say? Not that right now it must come out in the finalized worded form.
Right.
What is it you wish to say?
That the idea of communication with outer spatial beings is real and valid and available.
All right.
Have you hugged your ET today?
I know what you said
That was rough, get going.
it was great. Make one now.
Make friends with
Make
Yeah.
on board.
Yeah.
ET in the trunk.
What about G2 Brothers from the Sky?
I had thought of ET on listening. Yeah. Okay. Did you have any other place you wanted to go with that? All right, because I had another question.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's a device called Bob Beck's Brain Tuner. Would you comment on that?
Once again, these are symbolic interpretations. Any symbol is valid for the individuals that feel so attracted, so drawn. What we will share is that they simply represent, along with many other devices that you are creating, the beginning of the understanding of a new way to look at your brain, a new way to understand the physiological symbol that you are as a projection of consciousness into physical materiality, and the utilization and creation of mentality by the impingement of consciousness upon the electromagnetic field. All of these ideas are the beginnings of your willingness to be cognizant of how it is you interact as a physiological reality through the auspices of the creation of an electromagnetic field. They are all of service, they are all valid for varying ideas, varying degrees. You will simply find that bit by bit and piece by piece, you will consolidate many of these ideas into a few devices that will allow you to recognize, once again, the primary and basic beginnings of what you call your artificially intelligent computers that will allow you to understand that all you have done is create a device to allow you a comfortable means of communicating with your higher self in physiological terms. It is simply one... Something else?
Yes, I was wondering if you had any suggestions as to devices which were most evolved that are available. Pardon?
Crystals.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Bashar,
Hey.
what are you doing with your arms when you move them the way you do when someone's asking a question?
In this way, recognize I am not moving my arms, but the arms of the physiological channel are responding to pulses in my energy field, in my consciousness field. Because there is more communication coming to you than what you are perceiving or hearing translated vocally. So, the spillover, in a sense, is translated in bodily terms, and there are many other levels that are not translated physiologically at all, but which you simply feel. In this instance, the idea is simply that there are patterns of energy that are ongoing that reflect certain ideas being shared in your mass consciousness that we are simply tapping into and giving you a symbolic subconscious reflection of. These things do tap into you in certain ways, even though you may not be consciously aware of what they are doing. It is opening certain gates with you, because we are simply reflecting to you energy patterns we are picking up from you. Even seeing them in a form that does not seem to make conscious sense does make subconscious sense and allows you to begin to blend the unsub and consciousnesses into one level. You might say, in a way, we are defining an energy pattern. We are riding the waves of your mentality, and by showing them and reflecting them to you in this way, you are being given a graphic understanding that you do understand on some, let us say, deeper level, even though it may not make conscious sense to you. You are seeing a reflection of some of your own soul patterns.
I have another question.
All right.
I read a book called Out of Body Experiences, and in this book, this man had left his body, and during his experiences, he had communicated with quite a few of his friends.
Hey.
They communicated back subconsciously. When he approached them the following day in physical form and told them of his experience in communicating with them, they had no recollection of it.
No conscious recollection.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
I have had an out-of-body experience a few times, but one that I remember where this also happened, where I spoke to some people and they don't remember. Is this, obviously it is, because this is part of what you were saying, happening all the time, like perhaps right now? Okay, so that's all.
In this way, it is simply not their timing to allow themselves to know they can remember, so they do not.
But there are many times where they can remember. No?
Well, they always can. It is up to them to choose to. You follow me?
Yes. Would this be the reasons they don't remember, because they don't believe they can remember?
That is one idea. They may be afraid to remember. That is another idea. They may simply be doing something that allows them not to need to remember right now, because they are not finished with what they are doing, about forgetting. You follow me?
Yes. How about this one? I one time wished someone to dream something, only I was well rewarded by whatever I had wished. I don't remember what I wished, but this person acted it out.
Then in a sense you have, quote unquote, a reversal. The understanding that you attracted yourself to someone who was willing to mirror something to you that you did not necessarily have to bring into conscious recognition. But then when it was played out, you had a reflection that allowed you to make a connection from one level to another by being surprised, in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. It is simply one of the creative ways you allow yourself to remember who you are.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you!
Bashar?
Yes!
Evening. We talked a little bit about the etheric or the template universe.
Right.
Okay. We observed that streaming from the central regions of most galaxies is dense clouds of hydrogen gas.
Well, that is not the template.
No, I understand. That's what we observe in physical universe. And I've read some ideas about how matter is formed, and one of the ideas that I thought was interesting was they said when some of these force vectors that say intersect or collide with each other in the etheric, say, region or plane, when they actually intersect or collide, do they form neutrons? Do they form physical matter? And and so
there is always physicalization of matter coming out of what you perceive to be an energy void, constantly. They are called virtual particles.
Right, but of course, well, that's non-physical.
Oh, they are physical for a brief period of time. They are called virtual simply because they are only physical for a brief period of time. There is not a need for them to maintain a physicality, but the potential is always there. They are constantly transforming into matter into energy, to matter into energy, to matter into energy, to matter into energy. When they need to manifest, then there is a concentration or a focus of the energy that allows itself to impart materiality to more of the particles. You understand that what you call your black holes are also responsible for some of the creation of this materiality.
They come out of the white holes?
In this sense, you will find that these virtual particles are always created in what you call matter-antimatter pairs. Therefore, you find that as they are created, before they have a chance to come back together and, in a sense, cancel each other out back into energy, if one of them is absorbed into a black hole, the other one must remain material. Thus, it appears as if the black hole is radiating. You follow me?
Sure. You bring that up. It's also one of the theories I read that photons are neutrino and antineutrino pairs, and that some of that energy interacts with biological beings, and that's what helps us sort of light up our third eye.
In a sense, but they are not exactly neutrino-antineutrino pairs. Okay. There is another understanding that you will come to.
You shed some light on that now?
No.
Okay, one more question, please. Assuming that gravity is a quantifiable field, and there are certain units that you can number this field or the vectors within the field, sort of. What I'm trying to get at is there some way to mathematically convert E fields or electric fields or magnetic fields into some type of algebraic relationship?
Once again, when you allow consciousness to be a part of the equations, perhaps.
Right. All right.
Or in a sense, not meaning to be mysterious, consciousness is gravity. Gravity is consciousness. In a sense. I'll let you play with that.
Now that you talk about playing with it, we're going to be playing with a device that we built. I talked to Daryl during the break, and he's not available this Saturday, so if you're all available next Saturday, that's August 2nd, I think we're going to give the spinning disc anti-gravity device a shot. If you'd like to get together at the Carriage Inn at Burbank at Sepulveda at 8:30 in the morning, breakfast together, we'll go out to the site if any of you have.
Can't you do it on Sundays?
I play baseball, sorry. But if you're available and if you have a video camera available, if you have an 8mm or 60mm camera available, I'm more than willing to share the experience with you in charge. Just meet us in
2 Saturdays?
August 2nd.
What's the carriage?
Carriage Inn is a motor hotel at Burbank. It's a hotel. We can stay.
Were you once in need of welding information? Somebody was needed some sophisticated welding technique. Is that you?
I might avail of that later on.
Okay.
I think he needed it more than I did.
Oh.
Yeah, for the copper, we got it taken care of with an epoxy, but we can still
Okay. There's
cut that.
welding called diffusion welding. It's a solid state weld. I'll talk to you about that later.
Great. Yeah.
Ah, more synchronicity. There will also be others present.
Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness.
Do remember, do not stand any closer than 10 feet.
Oh, sure. I have a 50-foot extension cord. That's ready.
What should happen?
Will it record on videotape or film? Does it matter? Will both mediums work?
Okay.
Yeah, I was afraid that the magnetic field that we generate might just box up any videotaping we do, so that's why I wanted to make this.
If you are not too close.
50 feet is outside of the field.
Yes.
Video with the zoom.
For you!
Thank you.
There will be, simply from the act, a type of crystallization that will occur. Thank you. More acceleration. During the event, leave your imaginations open and running. You will absorb more than you realize. You follow me? Thank you. Sharing!
Sure.
Yes.
My daughter Taylor, she's special to me. She impresses others as being special and mature and such. She'll be 7 years old on this date you indicated as 7/7/87. Any beyond coincidence on her? Or?
Ask yourself why you named her as you did.
Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor Alana Holmes. My mom wanted her to be named Taylor.
Planet of the Apes.
Huh?
Taylor, Planet of the Apes.
The idea of a tailor, tailor-made. The idea of someone who fashions in your society.
Thank you.
In this sense, in our perception, literally in the child's hand at some point in her life can be the literal manipulation of energy in many different ways. She will draw heavily upon the vibration that you have indicated that you call Alana, for it will be her connection to the past and the future. It will be the fulcrum and the balance point. There is also no literative accident in what you call the vibration you call your last name as well. In this way, the child can function as a valve in the transformation, as many of the children of the transformation do. A valve, a black hole into a white hole between the dimensions. Or what you may symbolize as the bow tie. That is our remnant physiological symbol for an energy gate. What you would recognize perhaps as an elongated X. For always in going in one end, do you come to a point that contains infinity, and then, in a sense, explode into the particularly chosen vibration of the next universe you are visiting. But everything in the transformation compresses down to that one point before it explodes again. For at that point you are infinity, and all is possible.
I lost. What's the timing on that for an individual? I'm losing someone.
No need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perhaps, if you are willing, make the sign on what you call a piece of paper and show it to your child.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Sharing.
Sure.
Ace.
Yes, I have an aunt that told me once that if there's a certain fly that was roaming around my room, that it symbolized a spirit visiting me. And it's like every time I see a fly, I mean, it's not like just regular flies flying around, but it's like a certain fly, and I can feel a sensation that someone is around. And I know that everyone, I mean, it's like all the time someone...
Everyone creates their own symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Erica,
Mm-hmm.
would you like to share something?
What fly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know exactly. I think there was a mosquito in the room last night. It kept trying to land on my ear. It was pissing me off.
You are missing
we
the
couldn't
point.
find it to kill it.
You never can.
Landing on your ear.
One more time, apply what you are saying with obviousness to what has just been shared by that individual.
Well, if it's bringing you a message and it was landing on my ear, maybe it was bringing me a message.
All right. And upon the idea of what you call the immediate search, no physiological representation was evident.
Right. And we lived around that room. And that's why we didn't think it was a fly, because you can hear them all the time and they keep flying. There's no place.
Then in that way, simply recognize that you are tapping into a level of mass consciousness that allows you to know that many times the small buzzings are, in a sense, whisperings from another level. And are simply being interpreted in the symbolic fashion of what you call a fly. But many times you will find that as you look for them, you cannot find them.
Bashar?
Thank you! Thank you! Yay!
What if it's a butterfly? They don't buzz.
Then simply recognize you may be reflecting your own metamorphosis.
I had an interesting experience, but I'll just talk about it briefly.
All right.
I was reading this book of this woman who had a butterfly land on her finger, and she knew that this was a calling for her to leave and join her friend who lived near a tree that was cluttered in butterflies. Anyway, it's a long story. And I thought, gee, how amazing that this butterfly should keep landing on her finger and urge her to go 5,000 miles.
Everyone creates their own symbols, and the animal consciousness is more than willing to participate where necessary.
The next day I went to work and I was sitting at my desk, and this butterfly kept trying to fly into the door and hitting its head, and finally flew away. And I thought, I don't believe this. It was...
Obviously you did.
And what? And what did it bring me to?
Yes.
Oh, I just thought, well, that's pretty pleasant. I don't know what basis it had to me.
Do you feel that in your own transformation there may simply have been a symbol that you were running into invisible walls?
That I was running into invisible walls. How can you do that?
It is a very creative thing that many people in your society have done. The idea that you think you can see where it is you want to go, but for some reason it seems as if there is glass in between you and your so-called goal. You follow me?
Yes.
Are you following yourself as your own butterfly?
Well,
You are. What?
I'm flying into a visible wall. I'm trying to figure out how I'm accepting that. When I saw the butterfly zoom towards me, I thought that I was seeing things, and when I saw it come at me and it hit the glass, then I thought that I was preventing it by not opening the door.
Ah. Case closed.
Thank you. In addition to the butterfly, this Saturday I was sitting down and there was one yellow butterfly that flew right next to me, and it was very windy, and that was in the garage, and I said, okay, what is this representing? And then it just flew away, took off, it just disappeared, and then I said, well, I didn't get anything. So second time there was a bigger butterfly with more color into it. And then I said, all right, this means freedom. This must mean freedom. I went like that, and then all of a sudden it just, poof, it disappeared. And I thought I'd want to share that too, that's what I got into it.
Thank you.
Bashar?
You are the butterfly. Guys.
When I was living in Arizona 2 years ago, Maria and I were staying out in a guest ranch in the desert, and we were living in a house, but it was right in the desert. And one night, I looked down on the floor and I saw a tarantula as big as Steven's tape recorder. And Maria had her back to me and was washing the dishes, and I didn't want to say anything to her because she would have went nuts. I didn't want to have to handle a tarantula and her at the same time, and myself. So I found a glass jar I was going to try to put over it, and then went very quickly into the bedroom. I went, this is all I needed for this thing to hide, and I got to start poking around for it. So I went into the bedroom, it was right at the edge, and it was still. And I didn't want it to become afraid where it would, again, hide into the bed or something. So I just kind of sat down a few feet away from it, and I established a very strong mental contact with it. And I said to it, look, I won't kill you if you let me put this jar over you. I'm just going to pick you up and bring you into the desert and let you go. But don't bite me, because someone might smash you. And it came a few inches closer to me, and it stayed there. And I'd been to the Desert Museum that day, and I'd seen the difference between a male tarantula and a female. And I knew one of them was poisonous, but I couldn't remember which one it was. So I took this jar, and I just gently placed it over it, and I let me do it. And then I said, okay, now I've got to slip something underneath, so if you would crawl up the jar for me so I won't have to feel you when I slip the newspaper. So crawled up the jar, and I stuck the newspaper underneath, and Maria's still washing the dishes and humming a tune, and I walked right past her, and I said, I'm just going out for a minute, and I went out the back door, and I walked, a couple hundred feet away, and then it suddenly plopped on my hand, on the newspaper. I just went, put the jar away, and made sure that it left. But it's funny that my stay in Arizona triggered off more instances of real terror or fear in me that I had to come to terms with. And
really? Okay.
Yeah.
You understand the animal knew where it wanted to get off.
Really?
And that was an energy center to which it was related, to which you also were related.
Wow, really?
I put it this way, it was symbolic interpretation of coming to terms with many portions of the hidden self. Information you deem to be secret or inaccessible to you. For in many ways, that is what that particular animal represents. Knowledge of what to you may seem to be inaccessible information. And it is connected to some degree with what you call the nature spirits of the desert, archetypally, and some American Indian culture understandings. You were standing in its energy spot when it released itself.
Wow.
and therefore allow yourself to form a nodal point within yourself.
What's that, a nodal point?
A balance point of energy.
Oh, I see.
Thank you!
Thank you.
Bashar,
Guys!
what type of spirits are horses and what type of spirits are goats?
Animal consciousness representing many different things to many different individuals. In horses, in the general mass consciousness conception, service of support, new styles of movement, freedom of expression in many ways. Assimilation of many different concepts in the goat form. And different types of connection into primal nature energy, and in the goat, archetypal, mythological, subconscious, mass conscious energy. Again, dealing with assimilation of polarities. Thank you.
Bashar?
Yes!
You know, you talked about us as being all infinite creators, we're all creators. Where does the duality of creator-destroyer come from, say, in the Hindu cultures and Eastern cultures? Does that have the reason I bring this up is we were talking about insects earlier, and every time it gets moist outside, the ants start crawling all over your garbage and on the walls and stuff, and you have to stamp them out, you know, because you feel like there's germs and stuff. Well, I don't always do that, but, you know, when I do, happens by...
Understand, you are simply recognizing, or in their mythology, they are simply recognizing a very primal energy manifestation, the very basis of what it is you decided to explore in this physical reality, the idea of positive and negative polarities. Thus, one simple expression is creator and destroyer.
All right, thanks.
It is a fundamental energy cognition.
Does that also have to do with the yin and yang symbol?
Okay, to some degree, although that will carry more recognition of a blending as well, rather than a separation.
Those extraterrestrial origins? A particular symbol?
Not exactly. Let us say there may have been influence based upon your choices of cognition in ancient times, but only as you interpreted your own extraterrestrial energy. There is some connection to that, but it is not the total idea. There will be a few moments remaining for this interaction this evening of your time. Sharing.
Sean, would you share with us the energy exchange relative to the full moon in Cancer now?
The opportunity to be in direct communication with all that you have created to be unconscious within you, and the understanding that you can change sides. All that you know to be conscious can become unconscious. All that you know to be unconscious can become conscious, so that you will be turned inside out. And in this way allow yourself to experience a passage through your own fulcrum, your own black hole, into white hole experience. All right?
All right.
Crystallization has commenced. See the vibrations that you are. Act upon them. Sing them. Live them. Dance them. Be them. Feel them. Share them. Express them. You are the vibrations. You are the nodal points of all the agreements that you have made as a mass consciousness. The overall mass consciousness agreement has given birth to each and every individual as a nodal point within that agreement. Each and every one of you are the indices, the intersections of the matrix of the mass-conscious agreement in electromagnetic mentality. You are the vibratory zero-state rest centers, the holographic points within the field, the structure, the matrix. You are the concentration of energy out of the virtualness of all the probable realities. And you exist in every probable reality as a different reflection. Multi-dimensional lives to you. Exciting dream lives and life dreams. Our unconditional love. A fun and loving good night. Do not forget that along with the blending of the association and the available energies, do not forget the one closest in proximity to you, the dolphin consciousness. Sweet dreams.
Same to you.
Always. For I am sweetly dreaming right now.
Don't let the bed bug.
Right.